For the colonized, life can only spring up again out of the rotting corpse of the settler. Page 36. Frantz Fanon. Welcome to the Left Library, where we simplify political philosophy, political economy, and political science. Today, we're diving into The Wretched of the Earth by Frantz Fanon, a crucial work in post-colonial theory with strong ties to Marxist thought. Frantz Fanon, a psychiatrist and revolutionary from Martinique, wrote this book in 1961 during the Algerian War of Independence. His work offers a profound critique of colonialism and a radical vision for decolonization. Colonialism and capitalist exploitation. From a Marxist perspective, colonialism is an extension of capitalist exploitation. Fanon argues that the colonial world is a binary structure of oppressors and oppressed, similar to the bourgeoisie and proletariat. Colonizers exploit the resources and labor of the colonized, enriching themselves while keeping the colonized in poverty. He writes, "The wealth of the imperial countries is our wealth too. They stole it from us. Colonialism's final goal is to exploit the native." Fanon extends Marx's class analysis to the colonial context, showing how colonialism perpetuates a global class divide. The colonizers, much like the bourgeoisie, amass wealth and power at the expense of the colonized, who live in abject poverty and subjugation. The necessity of violent revolution. Fanon takes this further by asserting that decolonization is not just a political act, but a revolutionary change. It's the overthrow of the colonial system and the creation of a new social order. One of the most controversial aspects of Fanon's work is his discussion of violence. He argues that violence is an inevitable part of the decolonization process. For Fanon, the act of rebellion allows the oppressed to reclaim their humanity and break free from the psychological chains of colonialism. He writes, "Violence is a cleansing force. It frees the native from his inferiority complex and from his despair and inaction. It makes him fearless and restores his self-respect." This idea parallels now Marx's belief that the proletariat must rise up against the bourgeoisie to establish a classless society. For both Fanon and Marx, true liberation requires a complete upheaval of existing oppressive structures. Psychological effects of colonization. Fanon also explains how colonization dehumanizes the oppressed, leading to internalized inferiority and self-hate. The colonized see themselves through the lens of the colonizer, resulting in a fractured identity. This mirrors Marx's concept of alienation, where workers are alienated from their labor, humanity, and fellow workers. Fanon writes, "The colonized man finds his freedom in and through violence. This praxis enlightens the militant because it shows him the means and the end." Decolonization, according to Fanon, is not just physical, but also psychological, helping the oppressed reclaim their sense of self and community. It's a transformative process that addresses the deep-seated wounds inflicted by colonialism. Cultural Renaissance. Moreover, Fanon emphasizes the importance of national culture in the decolonization process. He argues that the oppressed must rediscover and reclaim their cultural identity, suppressed by colonial rule. This cultural renaissance is essential for building a unified, liberated society. He states, "National liberation, national renaissance, the restoration of nationhood to the people, commonwealth, whatever may be the headings used, or the new formulas introduced, decolonization is always a violent phenomenon. Marxists can see this as analogous to the working class developing class consciousness, just as the proletariat must recognize their collective identity and strength. The colonized must do the same to overthrow the colonial regime. The recovery of national culture provides a foundation for unity and resistance. Critique of the post-colonial bourgeoisie. Fanon is also critical of the post-colonial bourgeoisie, who often replicate the behaviors of their former colonial rulers. He warns that without a complete transformation of society, new forms of exploitation and oppression can emerge, maintaining the status quo during an opportunity for change. Fanon observes, the national bourgeoisie steps into the shoes of the former European settlement. It discovers its historical mission, that of intermediary. This critique aligns with Marx's warning about the dangers of a mere change in leadership without addressing the underlying structures of power and exploitation. Fanon cautions that a superficial transfer of power can result in neo-colonialism, where local elites perpetuate the same systems of oppression. The role of the peasantry. Fanon also highlights the revolutionary potential of the peasantry. Unlike the urban proletariat, the rural masses have a more direct and brutal experience of colonial exploitation. He argues that the peasantry is often the most radical and determined force in the struggle for liberation. He writes, the starving peasant outside the class system is the first among the exploited to discover that only violence pays. Fanon's focus on the peasantry adds a critical dimension to Marxist theory, which traditionally emphasizes the urban working class. In the colonial context, the rural masses are pivotal to the revolutionary movement. In conclusion, The Wretched of the Earth is a powerful call to action against colonialism, deeply rooted in Marxist theory. Fanon's insights into the psychological and cultural impacts of colonization, the necessity of violent revolution, and the importance of cultural identity resonate strongly with Marxist ideas of class struggle and revolutionary change. His work challenges us to think critically about the legacies of colonialism and the ongoing struggles for liberation. Thank you for watching The Left Library. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more simplified insights into political philosophy, political economy, and political science. Let's continue to learn and grow together.